pull. Yeah, you behind me? Going live with Singular.live. We are live again with Singular.live. That sounds kind of cool. And I've got my normal cast of characters behind the scenes. I've got Travis making it all work. And my trusty partner in crime, Catherine, is with me. Catherine, welcome back. It's been a little bit, what, month
Hi,
maybe?
yes.
Something like that.
It feels like longer. I don't know.
Something
It's been
along
some
those
time.
lines.
Yes.
But I'm excited to be back. We're in the depths of winter. It's a little bit chilly out where I am. I'm on the East Coast right now, but not too bad. A little sun broke through, and we are excited because Catherine's going to give us a little bit of what's new, and then we are going to jump across the pond, which we've done a few times, and we're going to talk to Ashley from Simplestream. So I'm excited to do that because I don't know much about their offering, a little bit, and I kind of like going into those blind so you don't really know too much, and then you can hammer them away with questions. So let's start with the what's new. What do we got?
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. So in our latest webinar, Stephen, I, and Thomas, we covered the brand new developer portal and API version 2. There's a lot of great new stuff in the developer portal that our team worked on, and some really key improvements to the API that we cover in the session. You can check out the replay of that webinar in the webinar playlist, along with many other deep dive sessions. There's also some really great new use cases of Singular from our community, including a brand new top tier football watch along show, and the Wheelchair Football Association and more. So some really interesting use cases as well. And then finally, we've got an article out that digs into this brand new partnership we have with Simplestream. And of course, today we're having Ashley on from their team to run through Channel Studio, which is their VOD asset repurposing solution, which works perfectly in tandem with Singular Graphics. So all of that and more of what's new in the Singular world can be found in a link in our latest newsletter in the description below.
Yeah, the API. I would reiterate the last stream that we did with Thomas. I thought was covered the new API great, and it's really powerful and much easier to use. And the documentation is solid.
Mm-hmm.
There's some nice examples. So I was really happy with the way that stream came out and got some good response. I think without further ado, let's just keep this train rolling. We've got Ashley is joining us from Simplestream, and Ashley, welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. I know very little about what you guys offer, and I like that. I like to know as little as possible when we have our partners come in and show us some of the cool tools, because that way I can hammer away with the questions. So the table is yours, my friend, and we're excited to see what you have to show us.
Well, I look forward to the difficult questions at the end. Cool. Those are the most fun ones, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for having me. So today I just want to walk through a little bit of what our offering is, and then I want to go into a little bit of a demo of how we've set this up with one of our customers and working with Singular.live, because for us, it's some really cool new technology that we've deployed. We've got a real use case for it, and it would be great to go through that.
Cool.
So to kick off, for Stephen and for everyone else that has not heard about Simplestream, we are a full end-to-end OTT provider. So what that means is that we develop applications for mobile, big screen, you name it, we do it. And we're doing that for numerous different services, for live, on demand, live events, anything in news, drama, production of any live services. We're there, and we've got a good range across the globe.
Cool.
And then what we want to talk about today, or what I'd like to talk about today, is Channel Studio. So, Stephen, as you alluded to, this is our sort of new product, and this takes video on demand content and it transforms it into a virtual live channel. So all of that archive that you've got sitting aside somewhere that's maybe not being used, we can repurpose it and create a 24/7 live stream ready to go and ready to appear as a live channel, or as the market is talking about at the moment, fast channels, which are the discussion of many conferences that you'll go to. So to jump into a little bit of the specifics, our virtual channels take content either from existing services, or you can pump them over to us. You then set up a schedule like you would in any sort of broadcast system. We create that live channel with or without adverts, depending on what your monetization model might be, and then we distribute it out. So we distribute out to our own applications, cool, fun, but then we also distribute out to other people's apps, and also those fast platform providers, your Samsung TV Plus, your Plutos, etc. So we're doing this in a lot of different ways for different services. The most interesting thing that we're doing, and the thing that I'm going to walk through today, is signposting with dynamic overlays, for which you guys at Singular.live has been absolutely brilliant in supporting us with, which we're starting to use in e-commerce, teleshopping, and live sports. So without further ado, I'll just sort of show you this, which we've got at the moment, and the case study that we're going to go into, which is for teleshopping. There is loads and loads of clips that are played out all day. So, they are selling makeup or, different ways of buying recycling bags or sewing machines. And if you watch that on a production channel, you get a slot for 15 minutes. You sell as much content as possible, and then that's it. That's your 15 minutes done. If you've still got stock left, usually wait 2 weeks, and then you get rescheduled in the program. You have to be make-up on and come on and resell the last of your stock. The alternative way of doing that, and the way that we're working with doing that, is taking all those clips that you've already created, repumping them back out as a live stream, adding in all of the important metadata about the cost, whether or not it's sold out, etc., and reutilizing it. So really using that archive and selling down all of their stock to make that monetization possible.
And so, Ashley, quick question here, because I'm not fully familiar with this integration. Our integration team is. So what happens is you can essentially change the graphics on that VOD asset depending on what you need at that particular moment in time. Is that accurate?
It's a little bit cleverer than that from your side, actually. So the way it works is we have a endpoint which tells you what's on live at the moment. So almost like an EPG that you'd get on the TV. So it tells you exactly what's coming up, what's on that channel. From that, we can then defer all of the different information. So how much is it? How much is the shipping? Are there any of them left? What's the description? Do you get a free gift with it? And we send all of that to you guys at Singular.live, and that then renders that UI in basically real time. So it's a really clever integration where it's being picked up.
Got it.
Yeah, that's a great integration. That's a very good use case for Singular. It's one where the automation, you're using the REST API, you're sending over the data payloads to populate that L bar that you have there at the correct time of the video, and away you go. These are really fun ones for us to see, because this is where you're really tapping into the API that Catherine and I mentioned at just before we launched into your segment. So this is super cool. Great. Really nice.
Yeah, and the nice thing as well is the transitions that the teleshopping provider really likes is that not only do we pass all that information, but also when you move from lipsticks to moisturizers, it transitions nicely all of those graphics as well, to update the prices, etc., and say what's on sale.
That's using our
Um,
update animations. That's great. I love those projects where you're just triggering update animations. So when new data is received into the Singular composition or application composition, it automatically triggers those transitions, and you can set them as you want, the speed, how fast things move out, how fast they move in. That's great. It's a great use case. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so what I can do is I could go into the use case here, but what I thought would be more fun for today is to actually walk through it in our system, as if you were the customer, because I think getting hands on or watching hands on is a little bit more interesting. So I'm gonna jump out of this and I'm gonna show you guys the real demo of it up and running and working.
Cool.
Let me just swap over. Cool. So this is our CMS. So the use case that we're talking about today is a customer called TVSN. In brief, they are a shopping channel in Australia and New Zealand. And as I mentioned, they have loads and loads of stock. They play out all of their content on a single live channel throughout the day to those two countries. And they hope, people call in, people buy all of their content. Their request to us was to actually create two new channels. So one for jewelry and one for fashion, where they can reutilize all of the clips that they've created and then resell all of their stock until they get down to zero. So what you can see here in this little picture is the final product. So this is a show that was played out on Saturday. It's now being played out again today. And on the left-hand side, we have a full Singular.live overlay with a little ticker along the bottom as well, waiting for any information to say, it's sold out or hurry up, it's limited, ready for, that to be shipped out. And as if by magic, it did exactly that. I promise you I did not expect that, but that works perfectly to demonstrate my point.
Oh, it just happened right now? Great.
Yeah, and we got the ticker there. That's
cool.
Great. It's really cool.
So it's really, the graphics are constantly, sorry, I think there's like a little delay. I was just going to say the graphics are constantly live, and that's so important to have at least one element of live on your shows, even if your VOD assets obviously are not. So it's really cool.
Yeah, for this is really important. If you want a Gem Ambassador oval ring, you've now only got limited stock. So you better call up and make sure that you order that ready for delivery.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah.
I like seeing projects where Singular is embedded into a player, as we're seeing here, and then presented in a page like this, a web page. And especially when it's got dynamic live graphic that's timed to video. It's really, really cool when you see the integration. And a lot of this, again, I'll go back to what Catherine mentioned at the top, is this: you guys are utilizing our API. So you're setting payloads, you're triggering in sub compositions, triggering them out as needed on a time basis. So that's definitely one of our strengths. So it's really cool for us to see a partner like you guys take advantage of that, and then, like I said, drop it into a player, because essentially we're an iframe inside of this player that's playing the video. It's really nicely done. This is really cool. And when did they start this particular customer? When did they start with you guys or implement this piece?
So we started working with them back in September, and then we launched this in January. So we did some user acceptance testing around Christmas, just while they were getting some of their highest numbers, and then we officially launched it in January. And it's worth saying actually that this player, although it's on the web for this demo, is actually in an Android app, an iOS app, Samsung, LG, and I believe that we're just about to launch Fire TV as well. So it's not just the web, but it's quite a range of devices.
That's impressive, nice. And that's really to increase your range. That's a challenging piece to the puzzle when you're supporting those devices. But the ones you rattled off, you're hitting the big boys, the big major players. So that's really cool. That's a very, very interesting offering you guys have. Very impressive. Really, really cool.
Yeah, and if I may, so this is the output. I think what's interesting to the way that we've worked on this is actually getting to this point as well. So we have a like a little scheduler, because what we found with these guys at TVSN is that they want this 24/7 channel. So they actually
Mhm.
create a live schedule, as if it were a normal playout. The typical playout has been broadcast. You want something on over here in the UK on the BBC. You set up that you're going to have Sherlock or Doctor Who go out. This is exactly the same thing, but for an IP virtual channel. So they create in our
Mhm.
system
Hmm.
a show. So they have something like Amethyst Gems, or whatever it might be, and within here, if I may, so if I go into one of these, we actually see all of their content. So this is a list of all of those little 15, 5, 10 minute clips that they've created from their live
Mhm.
channel, that have been played out, and then they're creating these programs afterwards to continually feed that program data. So they're really reutilizing all of their archive to make sure that they sell it. And you can even see on some of this content, it tells you how much is still in stock, ready to go, ready to
Nice.
be sold. And based on that, they schedule it.
It seems
And
like
it's
a really
all,
clean user experience, like very
oh yeah,
understandable for your customers to use.
and it's all cloud based. Everything I'm looking at, which is
Mhm.
really great. That's super
Yeah. So
powerful.
the part of this in between as well is AWS. So where we've taken the streams and created those virtual channels, we're actually then using the AWS encoding stack Media Live to take all of
Mhm.
this VOD, and have that live channel, and then bring in Singular Live as part of that motion graphic. So within that function, you can just insert the HTML, and then put that on top, so you get the output that we were seeing for that live channel.
Yeah, we love
Do they
Media Life. That's great.
do they have any plans? I'm just curious. Right now, you're accessing their video library. Do they do any live content where they actually have live video, or is that something in the pipeline for them?
Yeah, so within the app, if you were to go over to Australia or New Zealand, you'll actually see in their app that they have 3 live streams. So they have
Oh,
one which they run as a broadcast for normal
hmm,
DTT, watch it at
hmm,
home on your set-top box, and that's where we get all of these clips from. They're essentially taken off that live
Yeah.
channel
yeah,
and then used to feed these 2 additional virtual ones.
very cool. So you have a constant stream of content chopped up into digestible little pieces and then repackaged with singular overlays, and using your scheduler, it's running constantly, and they can really exhaust all their inventory from a sales
Mhm.
perspective much better. This is super cool. It's really nice. Very nice integration.
Yeah, I mean, just on the point that you made earlier, or the point around the data feed, what's worth just jumping across to within here, so you can actually see the data feed that we are sort of sending, and then
Hmm.
Singular Live is manipulating into what that overlay is going to be. So we send a load of this data, and then the integration guys at your side have kindly then put this together so that you're creating that overlay ready to go into that live stream. So it's a really neat integration to really utilize all that content.
Yeah, this is, like I said earlier, this is really utilizing our, on our side of the fence. You've got your regular timeline animations where you can just animate things on and animate them off. But while the graphic is sitting there in this L bar configuration, we have all the update animation. So if new data is received, whether it's an image or text or color, or any of the properties of our widgets, they get animated. So it's really nice to have that. You can see the JSON payload down there at the bottom, right there in the control node. That's great. Really, really cool.
Mhm.
These are the kinds of partners we like to see that really tap into our API. It's really, really cool because you get a lot of bang for your buck, I hope, from the Singular engine and the back end and the API. And it's the strong point of our offering is sort of that you're tapping right into the API, which is just awesome to see. And in here, this case, we're looking at Studio to just see a little rundown list. But again, you don't need this. You can just send the data to the template once it's done. Really cool. and all cloud-based, 100% pure cloud. I love it. That's great. God, I wanted hard questions, but I don't have any hard questions. Everything's working. I want something to break or something. You know? Really cool.
Yeah, I mean,
we actually did have a question come in.
Oh,
sorry,
nice.
Ashley. We can get to that in a second
right.
if you want to add. Okay. So I popped it in down here. It's a little long, so it's a bit squeezed on the graphic. But the question is, can you use the overlays alongside advertising for monetization, like a fast virtual channel? I feel like, I don't know, Ashley, I feel like we've addressed that, but if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, it's a fair question. I think it depends what you want to use these for, right? So what the use cases that we're finding is that the channel creation from all of that archive is really handy if you want to then make it as a fast channel, if you want to use ad insertion technologies to create that. And you can certainly do that alongside the overlays as well. Or you can just do it separately. So you can take all of your archive, separate them out, insert all of your ads, or insert all of the ad breaks and put it downstream to those fast suppliers. So it's certainly a good question. We utilize all of them. In this case, for teleshopping, they don't need to advertise because the whole stream is one big advert.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. And they want it to be theirs too, instead of someone else's, probably.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. Any other questions coming in? I think that about covers it. Ashley, it's been really cool having you on our little live stream here. And we look forward to doing more stuff with you. Hopefully you guys pick up some more of these cool channels, and we can help you guys with more cool, slick, singular graphics on those streams. Very cool, very impressive. It's been nice chatting with you, and I wouldn't be surprised we might have you back again. You never know.
I already look forward to the next opportunity to come back and talk about something cool that we're doing with you guys.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Take care.